Welcome to the State Correctional Institute at Graterford. It's Pennsylvania's largest maximum security prison. There are currently over 3,300 men in this maximum security prison. My name is Mike Lorenzo. I'm the Deputy Superintendent for Internal Security, and I help manage this prison. Before I took this position, I was a member of the Philadelphia Police Department for 25 years. During my police career, I helped put some of these men behind these walls. I've seen firsthand what the impact of crime does to the victim, the victim's families, the suspects' families, and the community at large. The video you're about to see was developed by Image in an effort to help keep our youth and our young adults out of prison. These men want to share with you what prison life is like. It's not a scared straight type of video, but a fact of prison life video. They recognize how their incarceration has affected their lives, the lives of their families, friends, and their neighbors, and also the lives of the families, friends, and neighbors of their victims. They were all young men when they came to prison. They sat in the same classrooms, same churches, and some of the same homes that you're sitting in right now. They made some poor choices, and it cost them their freedom. It only took several seconds in most cases to make a choice that they would pay for the rest of their lives. They are older and wiser now, and they want to share with you what it's been like to live in prison for the past 25 years. They want to spare you the pain and agony that you will put your families through, your victims' families through, and yourself through. They want to contribute something back to society to help keep people like you out of prison.
I grew up in here. From 16, I don't know what life is out there. Pretty soon, in another year, I have more time in prison than I did in the world.
The way things stand now, if I was to live till I was 70, that means I would spend 50 years in the penitentiary. 50 years. It's a long time.
In the 10 seconds that it took to commit that crime, I've been thinking about it every second for the last 27 years.
See, my life's done. I know I'm gonna die in jail. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not coming out 10, 20, 30 years from now. When they let me out, it'll be in one of them Ziploc bags.
One of the things that really hurts me and disturbs me is that I threw my life away. I actually threw my life away.
I'm from Philadelphia. I'm 25 years old. Started getting in trouble when I was about 12. I became obsessed with stealing cars, joyriding, being chased by the police, hanging in what you call gangs, you know, living that type of lifestyle.
When I was a kid coming up, you know, I wanted to do all the things that I seen the guys on the corner doing. And I set out to do that, you know. I mean, I actually wanted to come to jail because I thought coming to jail was hip. I thought coming to jail would be like my rite of passage. So I did things that I seen guys in my neighborhood do.
I was involved in little petties, stealing cars, nothing real heavy, nothing, you know, going out. I guess the best way to describe it is to describe how my aunts and uncles used to describe me. He's a little mean-spirited, he's a little ornery, but he's not a bad kid. You know, I was in school, I was doing good in school, excellent schoolwork. I was on the football team, excellent football player.
When I was growing up, my only dream and my hope was to make it past 21. Because I seen a whole lot of my friends died at the age of 15, 14, 13, getting killed. So the kind of neighborhood I come from, it was no dreams of being a movie star or a singer. It was about making it throughout that day and throughout that year. If you made it throughout that year, then we throw a party for you in New Year. We celebrate that. But if you didn't, we take flowers to the graveyard. That was the only hope I had. I had more dreams in prison than I had in the street.
I was an average kid. When I was little, I was on swimming teams and went to camp and all that stuff. Just as I got older, for some reason, I just started fading away. You know what I'm saying? I became real isolated against people. You know what I mean? For years, I thought people didn't like me and didn't want to be around me. And the further I pushed myself away from them, I really realized that it was me that didn't like people, you know? And that was one of my big problems in life. I had a problem dealing with people, and authority figures, and people that were in positions with rules and regulations telling me what to do from day to day. I had real serious problems with that. And I reacted on them problems.
Next man, step out. Put your back on the wall. First name? Giovanni. Last name? Reed. Spell it? R-E-I-D. What county? Philadelphia. Have you ever been here before? No. Your new commit, shoe size?
When I was younger, I never really thought about what I wanted to be. It wasn't until I got to the penitentiary is when I started realizing the potential I had to be somebody important or do things important. It wasn't until I got here when I started saying, oh, damn, I could have did this, I could have did that, but it's too late now because I'm in the penitentiary. And I got a lot of time, I got a life sentence. And in Pennsylvania, there is no getting out on a life sentence. So I'm here until I die. Because I was so young, I thought that it was nothing they could do to me. That, yeah, I'm young, maybe they could send me away to a little home or something. I never thought that I would be in a penitentiary with grown men. But that's exactly where I was at 17. And 1 year later, I was here. So, you know, I thought that they couldn't, but that's another false rumor that you hear, that they can't do nothing to you because you're too young. Man, they will prosecute you and put you in the penitentiary at 13. And that's the truth.
When I was 17 years old, me and another young man decided to snatch a woman's pocketbook. As a result of that, she fell, hit her head on the ground, and died. That was 27 years ago. That whole incident took less than 10 seconds to happen. I got tried as an adult. He got tried as a juvenile. He ended up doing maybe 3 years. 27 years later, I'm still here. We were 2 kids. We had a few scrapes with the law here and then no armed robberies or nothing like that. And, you know, prank stuff. And you know, the next day, I'm responsible for somebody being dead, and that's something I'll never get over. Till the day I die, I'll never get over that. And somebody was minding their own business, going about their own life, and because of me, that life is over.
It was a fight, and a whole lot of us got arrested. Somebody died in the fight. A whole lot of us got arrested, and we all got life. Because the law in Pennsylvania state that if you are in the company of somebody that committed crime, you are just as guilty. So you don't have to pull the trigger or the one carrying the drugs or whatever. If you're in the company of someone that's doing it, that can leave you in prison.
When I was 7 years old, I was locked up in a home until I was 9. And then from 10 to 13, and then from 14 to 16, I had my first homicide at 17. I went to prison till I was, 21, Joe? 21. I got out. At the age of 22, I was accused of killing another person and was placed in prison, and I've been here ever since. So I guess from the age of 7 years old, I probably only have about 2, maybe 3 years on the street. I'm what you call an institutional baby. I've been in prison all my life. being locked up as a juvenile tricked me, faked me out. Because a lot of places I got locked up in, they had mini bikes, they had horses and ping pong tables. And I was raised to believe that that's what prison life was all about. But then when I hit 17 and I hit the real penitentiary, and I was looking for horses and mini bikes. You know what I mean? I still have handcuff things on my wrists from being handcuffed. Prison's no joke, man. I took prison as an educational stepping stone. I'm gonna come to jail, toughen my game up, take it back out to the street. And I'm 15 years later, I'm still trying to get out and do all that, and I'm never gonna get out. The only way I'm gonna get out is die.
Turn around. Take your jumpsuit off. How many sets of underwear do you have?
On me?
Right. You'll be issued another set of underwear. That'll give you 2 sets of underwear. 1 to wash, 1 to wear. If you're here more than 60 days, you'll be allowed to ask for another set. Socks. Do not shake them out. Hand them to me like that. The scenario on what's going on down here is first thing in the morning, at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're going to hear count. At that time, you'll be on your door with your light on, ready to stand count. Shortly after that, they're going to say yard up. If you want to go to the yard, you'll be on your door with your light on. You announce your name and number for the yard. Every inmate down here is capable of being single or double celled. If you're in a cell with the cellie, you cannot answer for your cellie. He cannot answer for you. If you're in a cell by yourself, whatever bunk you're assigned, whether it be top or bottom, that's the only bunk that you'll reside in. You do not use the other bunk for storage. You do not put anything on the walls, windows, or doors. If you want to sign up for sick call, you can sign up for sick call on any shift. 2 to 10 nurse will collect them. The doctor will be around to see you the next day. If you want to go to sick call, do not go to the yard. The doctor will not come out in the yard to see you. At about 8 o'clock in the morning, you'll hear yard up again. At that point in time, you'll be on your cell door with your light on, in your skivvies or your jumpsuit in hand. You will be strip searched before you go to the yard. Anytime you come out of your cell down here, you'll be handcuffed. You'll be handcuffed from the rear and you back out of your cell. We do not make personal phone calls for you. Any business you have to take care of with your counselors or anyone like that will be done with a request slip only. If you happen to be in a top bunk and you're in a cell by yourself, you want to go to the bottom bunk, you will submit a request slip. You will not move until you're authorized. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Turn around. Turn around. Cuff them up. This way.
When they walked me here, they walked me on E Block, and I looked around and seen what looked like hundreds of people, you know, all looking at me. And right then and there, I knew I wasn't the tough guy I was. I felt it. You know, I found myself in a position where I was no longer that person I was on the street. You know, and it was rough.
When I first came here, I came from the Youth Study Center, and my heart was bumping, and every time the bus got close to the wall seemed small from a distance. But every time, I knew my life was over. Especially when they hit the back, and they hit the gate, I seen the guard in the tower with a shotgun. I knew it was over. 16 years old, and that's when my life ended. When my first day in here was the day that I began to die.
I was gripped in fear, you know, because when I first walked in this jail and seen how big this jail was, and I seen how many people was here, I couldn't believe it. And then they take you to quarantine, and I mean, it's so much noise and so much chaos and so much confusion, and it's so many things going on around you till you really never get a chance to collect your thoughts.
I was put in a state prison, 17 years old, around state prisoners as a federal prisoner. And like I said, back then I just about shaved. And it was rough because everybody's looking at you. And nowadays I know what it was. Even then I knew what it was and I was scared. You know what I mean? It's like, guy's been in jail a long time, there's a young kid coming in and long hair back then. And it was an eye-opener. It was an eye-opener.
When I first came to prison, I was 16 years old. It's my first time upstate. This is where they brought me at when I first got here. This is the process area. Basically where you lose who you are as a person. They take all that away from you. You're not even considered a person anymore, just a number now. And this is where it all begins. And from the way it looks, I got a long life of this ahead of me.
We're gonna go through stages down here. When it's time to take inventory of your property, we'll call you over there, we'll take inventory together. At that time, we will tell you what you can have, what you can't have. Right now, sir, you need to get naked and put everything in the box for a strip search. Put it all in the box. Everything means everything.
Well, I was really taken aback when I first came here. I was signing in. The officer asked me, when you die, where do you want your body sent to? And they give you a paper that's like a will, who you leave your last possessions to. That's when reality came and slapped me in the face like a George Foreman left hook. Where do I send my body to? That's when it hit me, you're in here for life. And I realized, man, it's over. What did you get yourself into? How did you allow yourself to become involved in something like that? Now look at you. And I had to tell my mom and dad their son was going to die in the penitentiary.
When I came up here and looked down that hallway and looked and seeing how long it was and them gates closed behind me, my little heart pumped Kool-Aid. And believe me, to adjust to the penitentiary is the hardest thing in the world. As a matter of fact, you're a better man than I am if you're able to adjust, because I haven't been able to adjust to it in 25 years. Each cell block has anywhere between 500 and 700 people. You know, and that's a lot of people. You know, that's 500 to 700 different personalities. Plus, you have to deal with the personalities of the guards.
Hands up on the wall.
You have to deal with the personality of the prison. That's a whole lot of dealing with, and dealing with your baggage too.
This is where I live at. It's what they call C Block. This is my street. This is my neighborhood. This is my world. This right here is my cell. A156, right here. See that? That's my cell right there. This is where I live at, my cell. It's basically a 6 by 9 foot box, concrete and steel. You can touch both sides of the wall. See that? You can touch both sides of the wall. This is where I live at. This is where I sleep. This is where I eat. This is where I drink. This is where I play. This is where I go to the bathroom. This is where my entire world exists in a 6 by 9 foot cell.
Can you imagine living in a box, in a bathroom? Just go to your home, take the toilet out and the bathtub and put a bed in there. That's where you're gonna live for the rest of your life. That's what prison is like. In here you will have a pair of Browns and a pair of state boots. And if you're lucky, they might give you a pair of Skippies. And that's the bottom line, that's it. You could cry, you could moan, it don't fit, you gonna work. You gonna get up 6 o'clock in the morning for camp, and 6:30, 7 o'clock, you gonna come to work all day long. When you go back, ain't no rest, you gonna get up for count again. I produce this here. This is what I produce all day long. This is what I do. Service, DOC. DOC, spell it backwards, cash on deliver. That's what you will become. The minute you step in the receiving room, these people want to cuff you up, put you in blues. 6 months later, you'll be running around here, pushing the broom, working. It ain't no laying around, I'm tired, I just came from school. Nah, you gonna get up for count. You gonna go to work. That's all you gonna do in here. This is probably the product of one inmate. One inmate probably did all this in one day. All this right here. You could combine this, this is the equivalent to 25 cents worth of work, right here. And after this, we bring it back here. After this, we bring it back here. And from here, they stock it in the shells. They stock it in the shells right here. Oh, this is shells where they stock the clothes. And from here, it goes straight out to the warehouse.
First thing in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, if I'm not already awake, I'm awakened by this loud siren that tells me I have to get up out of the bed, stand up at my door, and be counted. That's 6 o'clock in the morning. 20 minutes after that, I'm let out to go down and eat breakfast. Usually consisted of some kind of porridge or cereal, hot cereal, whatever. I can't begin to get into the food like that. About a half hour of that, I'm let out for work. Maybe around 7 o'clock, I'm let out for work. My job consists of being a janitor, sweeping. If you want to learn how to be a top janitor, this is the place to be. The one thing they will teach you is how to sweep and mop floors and clean toilets. You can learn that in here.
My job starts out at 16 cents an hour. And, well, I've been on my job the longest, so for a long time. So I get paid the top pay. And man, it's a whooping 42 cents an hour, And so I make approximately, 40-some dollars, 50-some dollars a month.
I don't have nothing in here but this. This is what I'm mandatory to carry all day long in my pocket. Because if I don't, it will land me in the hole. This is all I own right here, an ID. Everything else, I don't have nothing.
You see these phones? You know how you used to just going to the phone and getting on the phone and sitting down and being comfortable? All that's over with. When you get here, this is all the privacy you ever get. You're gonna have guys walking all over the block, making a lot of noise, and you're not even gonna be able to really listen to whatever you're talking about. You're gonna have 15 minutes to say what you need to say on the phone, and all the while you're talking on the phone, somebody's gonna be on there telling you this is a call from the State Correctional Institution at Graterford, and this call is being monitored. You ain't gonna have no more privacy because you lose all that. And another thing you're gonna do, you're gonna put a burden on your family because your family gonna have to pay ridiculous phone prices for you to talk on the phone. You're gonna have to pay to talk on this phone, and you're paying to have somebody listen to you. You're paying, like to be treated this way, and that's and nothing else you can do about it.
You find yourself on a telephone calling home, or maybe to your so-called friends, and within a couple months, you'll see that the phone's been shut off, can't call no more. You know, as far as getting visits, you might get them when you first come, for the first couple months. After a while, it stops. You lose everything, you know? You find yourself writing letters. Then when it comes time for the officer here to come give out the mail, he just walks by your cell. Don't drop anything in.
When we come down here to get a visit, we have a pass with us. And it's a number on the pass. And we come in here, we have to take out the clothes that we have on right now and put it on the number that's on this wall with the pass that we have. After we take all our clothes off, we have to come in, we have our underwears and t-shirts on with our boots. And we put it up in here. And we come around here. And this is where the officer is at, and this is where we strip. And we strip down to nothing on. And the officer, after we strip, the officer, we have to turn around and show him our hands. And then after that, we go into our mouth. Then after that, we have to bend over. And all the years that I have been away, this has been probably the hardest part for me when I come to get a visit, because it's very humiliating. Then after that, the officer gives us a brown jumpsuit. This is what we wear out in the visiting room. To be honest, I wasn't close to my family because I was into so much out there. I wasn't close to my mother. I remember when I came to prison in 1976, and in 1979 I had went up to Camp Hill, and during a visit, this is when I really realized just how much I was so far away from my family, as far as being, even though I was there on the street, I was so far away from them. Is when my mother had told me on a visit that she had told me that when I was home, she was paying on a tombstone for me. And here it is, I was only 14, and my mother was paying down on a tombstone for me. Because that was the things that I was doing out there, taking my mother through hell. I remember nights when I would come home and I come in the house and my mother light still would be on, but as soon as I come in the house, she would turn the light off. And I asked her, why did she do that? She said, because when you came in, I knew you were safe that day. So this is where I got close with my family, in prison.
Look at these prisons, count them. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They got 6 jails inside of one jail.
You're in a restricted housing unit known as L unit. A restricted housing unit is commonly known as the Hole or the RHU. Right now we have 128 cells. We can house 258 inmates, 256 inmates. This is for administrative custody and disciplinary status inmates. A disciplinary inmate, basically what that is, that an inmate that has violated the rules and regulations of the institution. Anything from using profane language to an employee, to being involved in something serious like an escape attempt, cell thieves, involuntary sex acts, predators. There's a whole variety of things, unauthorized area. There's a lot of different reasons why an inmate can be in disciplinary status. We have a lot of mental health cases. They flood to tears. A lot of them have medical problems. Each one has to be dealt with at an individual basis. We cannot categorize the inmate. We have to deal with them one-on-one. Inmates are in this area here or in their cells 23 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're entitled to 1 hour of recreation, if they choose. If they do not sign up and want to go to recreation, then they're in their cell 24 hours a day. If they're a disruptive inmate, and we're a problematic inmate, for safety, security reasons of the unit, or the staff, or other inmates, we can deny access to the yard area on a short-term basis, a day here, 2 days there. Or we can segregate them when they go into the yard. They go into the yard by themselves. They do not go with anyone else. There's a whole variety of things that can be done. They get 2 cups, 2 paper cups, and when a wicket opens up, if they want to drink a beverage, they put the cup on the wicket. If there's no cup, they don't get any liquid. They get a flex pen to start with so that they can fill out the request slip. They get toothpaste, toothbrush, and this is what they eat with. A flexible spoon, a wash rag, a roll of toilet paper. They will not be issued another roll until they turn the centerpiece in. And of course, we give them a bar of soap. That's what they start with. These yard areas are more like a dog kennel. They have a roof on them, they have 4 walls, they have an opening where we can take the handcuffs on, a place to take the handcuffs off. All the doors will be locked with a security lock. The inmates will spend 1 hour in that area. They will be handcuffed, they will be stripped or searched, they will be taken back inside, placed in a cell, the handcuffs will be taken off, and they will be strip searched. Pat them down. Currently in this institution, over on J Unit, we have 50 capital case inmates. By a capital case inmate, what I mean is the inmate has been sentenced by the courts to execution. The state of Pennsylvania uses lethal injection. All executions are done in a state correctional institution at Rockview by state law.
The judge gave me a break when I was about just barely 15. And she sent me to a juvenile facility, Cornwall Heights. I spent a little time at Cornwall Heights, spent a little time at Glen Mills. I actually escaped from them areas, and when I escaped, I continued to do crimes. I went back in front of the judge, and she told me, she warned me, she said, if you continue to do these crimes, you continue to come in front of me, you'll be the youngest person in Graterford. Of course, I didn't take it seriously at the time. That's she actually meant those words. And so I just continued to do what I knew best, you know, commit crimes and rip and run, until finally I found myself, you know, arrested and charged with matters, man, that would eventually lead to me being on death row. It didn't really dawn on me when I was given the death penalty, the significance of having the death penalty. It didn't really dawn on me until I actually found myself on death row, which was in July of '91. When I went to death row. It's kind of hard to explain being down there, but it's difficult. It's a difficult situation. If you're not used to isolation, you will have to get used to it, because nobody is allowed to be in the cell with anybody else. A lot of the so-called things that we look at as luxuries in population, you don't even have down there. As far as all the way down to a toothbrush. Books are limited, your clothing supplies are limited. Everywhere you go, you're stripped, you're handcuffed behind your back. You're constantly being stripped. It doesn't matter if you're going around the corner to the law library or going around to a visit. I watched a lot of people down there deteriorate mentally, physically. Not being able to handle the situation of being on death row. It's not something that you can just do. A lot of people may figure that a life sentence and a death sentence is close, but it's not. It's a death sentence it's a psychological
situation that you have to be able to deal with, psychological trauma. And unlike anything else, the death penalty is something that each and every day you wake up, you remember you have it. You know, each and every time you get up out the bed, you remember you have the death penalty. And you're always wondering if you're ever going to get it up off you, if you're actually going to be executed. Each time we see suits come in the door, which are considered to be outside people or the warden or whatever, the first thing everybody's mind is, you know, somebody's warrant is signed. That's the sign that somebody's warrant is signed when you see the warden come in or the chaplain coming in together with the counselor. And when that happens, it's like a hush that falls over the block because everybody's wondering whose warrant got signed, you know, whose warrant it was, and if they're going to get a stay this time or not. I really credit a lot with the guys down there. It's kind of like a unity, you know. It's like a family down there. You have to have that because everybody needs each other down there. We all need each other in order to get through it. And each time somebody gets their warrant signed, you feel like a part of your family is missing. It may come up missing for good. And so it puts a certain mindset, everybody in a certain mindset. Being out of there has been a kind of serious adjustment for me. I've been out now about short of 2 months I've been out. And I'm still adjusting to population life, being able to walk around without handcuffs on, being able to walk the child, being used to having everything brought to me for 9 years. It's a little difficult to try to adjust automatically to your own sense of freedom. And after being down there for 9 years, this is a sense of freedom to anybody that's been on death row for 9 years.
If that cell could talk, I guess from who was ever in that cell from when it was built in the 30s till now, it would tell a lot of stories, a lot of crying, I guess. And I know I have a hard time when I see them like wheel someone out dead or OD, and that used to happen a whole lot. And you see, you know, all stiff and stuff, and you know that person. See, in prison, it's like whatever your makeup is in life, in the street, if you got a weak moment, you can go away, no one sees it. But in prison, you don't have that luxury. You don't get away. So that weak moment or you know, you're not all right and something's wrong, it gets spotted in here. It's like this place, it's a magnifying glass you're under. And it's like, when you go in that cell, you get a little time by yourself, but it's like, it ain't, I wouldn't say it's ghosts that haunt you. It's you that haunts you.
I never thought about coming to prison because when I was home, prison was a joke because we would hear guys that come home from prison around the neighborhood and they would tell us about, you know, what's going on up there, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know, so-and-so up there, he waiting to see you come up there. You know, it's fun up there. I'm telling you from experience, they was lying. They didn't tell me that when I had to lock up at 9 o'clock that I'd be crying. They didn't tell me that since I've been away, I would lose family members. They didn't tell me none of that. You know, see, they'll tell you that what you want to hear or to make themselves look big when they was here. But they're not going to tell you the reality of this, that this shit is hell.
I look at myself as an idiot for being here. You know, I'm a fool for coming to penitentiary so young, getting caught up in a system like this. You know, I'm a fool. There's no badge of honor, no badge of respect. Ain't nobody gonna respect me when I get out. You know, a sense of somebody that got sense, they look at me like I'm a fool. I'm supposed to be somewhere else doing greater things with my life. This may be it for me, that I may never get a chance to live a normal life again. That what I would like to do in life is I won't be able to do it. I won't be able to have kids or get married. The simple things of life is for me now. Like when I was on the street, I always wanted to get the extravagant things and live a life that is probably beyond my means. But now it's just the simple things, being able to walk to the corner store, to go see your mother. It's the little things now that I think about now. Just not being able to live a normal life for me that's what bothers me the most.
When people ask me, Earl, what do you miss about being on the street? I always tell them, climbing a tree, and it might sound crazy. I'm a small town guy, but I miss that so much, climbing a tree. I can't remember the last time I seen a tree, let alone climb one. And it's small things like that you miss.
I think I done cried more in this place than I ever did as a baby. And I'm not ashamed to say that today, you know, because you're gonna find that you're gonna get here and you're gonna feel so bad and so miserable about how you messed your life up, and you're gonna have to cry, no matter who you are. You know what I mean? The toughest guys, they tell you they don't cry. They lying, man. You know, your boys tell you they up here slinging and selling. They lying. They ain't doing none of that. I'm telling you, they ain't doing that shit, man. They not doing it. It's not happening. You know, them guys is up here, man, fronting, and they sending home, they writing home, and they telling you that this is happening, that's happening, but it's not. They're trying to tell you something that they, you know, they want to give you an impression that they up here having fun and that they really dealing with the situation. But we ain't dealing with the situation. We're dealing with it, but we're dealing with it in a way that you don't never want to find out about. You don't never really want to find out how I feel. You know, how I feel, all the pain I feel. You know, how I feel about when I think about my mother. When my mother died, and I still can't go to the funeral or to the grave and say anything to my mom. Or when my brother just died. Me and my brother grew up together. My brother was 2 years older than me, and he just died last week. I wasn't able to go home.
See how quiet my brother is? Got nothing to say. His mind's in the woods right now, shooting bears or something, swimming down the creek, fishing. Them days is over for him. He get postcards from his kids, fishing and hunting. Days are over, man. We came in this world together. We lived in bunk beds together. And we're gonna die together in the penitentiary. Ain't that something?
It's so easy. I seen people in here come in with 2.5 to 5, 1 to 3s, and they're still here for the 25 that I did. And it's like, you can turn that meatball, like they say, into a meatloaf. You could turn it into a wipeout.
I never thought that they would send me to prison this long. I mean, I even was told, see, the whole system is geared toward against you. And don't think that, you know, because you come to prison, you get a good lawyer that, you know, you're going to get off. Because I thought I had a good lawyer. And he told my mother and my family that I would be out when I was 21. I'm almost 40 years old. So you think about that.
You know, I mean, it's a few guys, you know, a few guys gonna get through the cracks. You know what, though? A whole lot of them guys that get through the cracks and get out, I seen them come back. I seen guys come here and stay here 2 years, you know, and run around here and act like they're having fun. You know, when they go home, and then you look in the newspaper, you look at the TV, and you see they done got locked up for killing somebody. And then I see them back here again, and they had the dumb look.
The world's changing so fast that I have people in here that have been locked up for 30 years on a life sentence that if I put them in the street, they would be so terrified they would want to come back to jail because the world is completely, totally different. A lot of these people can't read, can't write. The only way they know how to get around in a city is because This bus is a certain color. That sign is over here. This store is over here. And in 20 and 30 years, that store is gone. They got different kind of buses now. The bus stop that used to be there isn't there. When you put them in a neighborhood they come from, the people have moved away. The people have grown old. It's a strange environment for them. It's culture shock. The same as when you get locked up and they take you off the street and put you in here. It's culture shock. You've never seen it, you've never experienced it. You don't know how to cope with it. You have the same thing when you go back out in the street if you've been here for a long time.
I learned things the hard way. And I didn't have to learn things the hard way because I had a lot of people helping me and trying to tell me how to do the right thing. You know, I had 10 brothers and sisters, me being the youngest, and no one else in my family ever went to jail except for me. And the only reason I went to jail was because I wanted to do things my way. I wanted to be rebellious. I wanted to, the law, the street life got me, and I got caught up in the moment, and, I got caught up in the seeing guys driving around in cars and girls, and I got caught up in all that foolishness. And for a couple of days or for a couple of years, yeah, that might have been fun, or I thought it was fun. But for those 2 years of what I thought was fun, don't add up to the last 21 years of this misery and this pain I have felt, and I continuously feel it. It's not a day that go by that I don't feel pain, and it's not a day that go by that I'm not regretful about my past.
It is no age limit. If you're 13 or 14 years old, you can come to the penitentiary now. They can put you up as an adult, certify you as an adult, take you to trial as an adult, and bring you to the penitentiary. Right now, we got guys in here that have been in here since they was 15, 14, 16. They're young, and they get younger and younger.
They have no problem giving the death penalty to a juvenile. No problem whatsoever. In certain states, they will give you the death penalty whether you're a juvenile or not. Like I said before, if your crime fits what the status quo is for it, you will get the death penalty. And it's just that simple. It's just that simple to get it. Doesn't matter, 15, 16 up, you will get the death penalty, Or you can actually, like I said, lose the rest of your youth in jail.
When I first got here, it might have been 200-300 guys 21 years and under here. Man, the whole place is filled up with 21 years and under. And old dudes are dinosaurs now. This whole place consists of young kids your age and younger. This whole place consists of a whole lot of young kids that done made a mistake and got here and realized it's too late to change that mistake. This whole place consists of a bunch of guys that missed a whole lot of opportunities by standing on the corner and selling drugs and not going to school, and now they caught up in this system without an education. There's so many guys here, man, that's young, that's illiterate, can't read, can't write, and if somebody here don't help them, or if they don't really try to learn why they're here, they're not gonna never learn it.
Respect is not something you get from being in the penitentiary. This is not a sign of respect. What's respectful about throwing your life down the toilet? Yeah? What kind of badge of honor is that? I'm in the penitentiary, I'm this, I'm that. Nah, come on, there's nothing honorable about being in here.
I think what I gained was a bad reputation. That's about the only thing I gained. And that's a reputation that's going to be with me for a long time.
And then when I stopped, drinking and drugging in here and sat down and had to deal with me and get up in the mirror and look at me, I started seeing, me. You know what I mean? And I didn't like it. I started seeing like that kid, all the things I was taught, and why not go back to that, or the sensitive part, you know what I mean? Sometimes I look at it like the lights on them new, like a lot of people, they're probably old to them, but I still ain't really seen them, where they have the red blinking lights up and down on the stereos and they go up and down. I look at them like my sensitivity and feelings, and I had all them buttons down.
There's really nobody to tell about your feelings in here because everybody else experienced the same thing.
I always heard how easy it is. You know, you come in, you know, you do your time, you get out. But now that I got here, I realized that, yeah, it's easy to get here, but getting out is the most hardest thing in the world.
Anybody that wants to go and get in trouble and disobey the law and not obey their parents, this is the outcome. This is where it ends. And growing up, I always heard the three things: jails, institutions, or death. That's the three things in life. That's what happens to people that don't listen, that think that they're above everybody else. And there ain't no way out of it.
25 years ago, somebody told me not to come to jail. Here I am 25 years later telling you my story, so that 25 years from now, you're not telling somebody your story. I can predict my future. I'm going to die in the penitentiary. Can you predict yours?
If I could paint a picture of what prison looked like, you know, you ever see, I would paint the ocean. A lot of water, dark. As you look down on it, you will see spirals of darkness. Out of that water will come a big giant head, mouth wide open. And as you look into his mouth, you see all the hopelessness, all the disparity, all the gloom, all the darkness, all the shadows of non-life. And as it closes, the light that you might be looking at will be taken away from you. That's the picture I would say of prison.